Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Comic Corner, episode 2. Sorry, Robert. This is Dom.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, man. Thanks for joining us, guys. I've been actually enjoying this new segment a little bit because it's actually giving me a reason to go and read comics a lot. And
it's refreshing.
Yeah, it gives me a purpose to. Because usually, I'll just be like, well, I just need to focus on a video game here and there. And maybe a TV show here and there.
It gives Robert a purpose. It gives Robert a reason to wake up in the morning, guys.
I wake up every morning like, I gotta read that comic, Comic Corner.
Just another step, one step at a time, guys.
Yeah.
Just getting out of bed.
So I've been enjoying it, and that's also giving me a chance to go to my local comic store a lot more because I've always wanted to go, but they had too much comics that before I was like, well, I'm not much of a comic reader.
So it was kind of an intimidating thing for you to go.
Yeah, it was.
You didn't know what you were doing, kind of thing.
Right. And so now that I'm like, okay, I have a purpose, I'm going to go and try them out.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, let me just give the whole opening intro thing. This is the Comic Corner here on the INDUO YouTube channel. Make sure you guys push that subscribe button, like button, and put your comments down below on comics that y'all are reading. Let us know what kind of comics you recommend for us to read. And if you have any questions on comics that we are reading, we'll answer them for you guys. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'll have descriptions down below. And as always, this is a weekly podcast. Stay tuned, guys, and you guys will be updated to social media. Now, in regards to comics, I've always been scared because of the fact that superhero comics are really intimidating to go into.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've done it, and I'm pretty sure you probably have more of an understanding how to get into it. I love Spider-Man. Well, I love certain superheroes, and I walk in, and I'm like, where the heck do I start, dude?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Because it's like they start a new series, and then out of nowhere they start interweaving stories from other comics, and you're like, what do you do? So that's where I get stuck there, man.
Okay, so let me tell you. So with the Avengers movies, with the Iron Man, and everything else, all these superhero movies, Marvel has made it so much significantly easier to start getting into things like this, especially because they're owned by Disney now too.
Yeah.
So everything that you want to know about comics has become so much easier in the last couple of years. Okay. It's ridiculous. If you actually go to Marvel's website and their comic website,
yeah,
you can look up. Okay, so let's just hairball a character up, right? Like
Spider-Gwen.
Okay, you type her name into the Marvel Comics website.
Yeah.
It'll show you all the issues of comics that she shows up in, she appears, and if she's got her own series of comics.
Okay.
So I mean, with Legion, I did that. I'm like on his own story arc, but I have not read the ones before, which I think the show is loosely based off of.
Okay.
So I still have to do those, but I mean.
Now, quick question: are these Legion comics newer comics?
His story arc is probably from back in 2014, 2015.
Okay, so has there been moments when you're reading the comic where you're like, wait, how does this character fit into all this? Or is it like, oh, this character comes out and refer to issue blah 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 from this comic? Has that ever happened to you?
No, I mean, with his own little story arc, it kind of fits all together. I mean, if you just kind of go in with an open mind that okay, so for example, he's kind of loosely part of the X-Men. I mean, he doesn't really play well with other people,
yeah,
but because he's a little, But the whole thing is that you just, if you go in with the understanding that he knows those people,
yeah,
he kind of talks about why he doesn't like them and stuff like that. So, I mean, all that kind of pieces together. It's not as bad as you think it is. Okay, for me, when I was in middle school, high school, I always wanted to get into comics too. Did a little bit, but it was hard for me to do that. We had one little tiny comic shop. I mean, in our town is 15,000 population at most, so not a lot came through there. But never really had time with sports and stuff like that, so couldn't do that. But now with the Kindle and stuff, it's super easy because they have they've collected all the stuff into volumes, so you can just get volumes of certain characters. Yeah. You can go on the Marvel thing. You can track which volumes to get, what comics to get. If you want to go outside of their just main story arc, you can go and look up certain issues that they appear in, and just kind of piece together that character through those issues.
Yeah.
I
guess for me, the only thing for me is I grew up reading a lot of manga.
Yeah.
So it's usually just one narrative, and then it ends whenever it ends. And that's why I've been gravitating more towards like The Walking Dead, like IDW's comics.
Yeah.
Because there's a definitive beginning and there's a definitive end, and there's nothing, any side stories or anything like that, you know. And so that's why I've always been scared to go into the Marvel stuff. And so I know I was reading Miss Marvel for a little bit. I got the first one, and then over time she was dipping into like Captain Marvel and different stuff like that. And now I'm like, well, this franchise that I loved Miss Marvel. Her comic was really, really good. And I wanted to continue it. Now I'm like, well, does this mean I have to now go read Captain Marvel stuff to understand why she's playing into this role in Miss Marvel and see why she's helping out these characters and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. That's the problem.
Very well
with me.
could.
So,
but if you, like I said, if you go onto the Marvel like comic site, that it'll tell you. Like, you like Miss Marvel, you like Captain Marvel. It'll just lay it all out there for you. So it's pretty simple nowadays, but I think it's great because it's opening a bigger window for people that always wanted to get into this, and so I know I'm enjoying it. I'm reading like Iron Fist right now, and I love those comics. They're kind of gritty too, so it's not as like toned down for TV entertainment. You get the more of the action and
right. Well, guys, let us know in the comments if you guys recommend me any kind of Marvel comics that you want me to see. And if you guys have the same struggles, let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to find people out there who have the exact same struggles as we do. But let's get right into what we've been reading this week, obviously, here in the Comic Corner, episode 2. I'll start off. We'll do comic. So last week, I brought up that I was reading Paper Girls. Loved it. I got Paper Girls 2 now. This comic was good. The first one ended with a good cliffhanger, like I said. And again, spoilers real fast. This show is going to contain a lot of spoilers. So if you are scared of not wanting to know what's going on, you guys can skip ahead. And, you can just skip ahead and see if I lift up a comic or Dom lifts up a finger or something like, hey, I'm going to talk about my next comic. Then that's when, we're getting to the next comic and maybe you want to hear what we're saying about it. So Paper Girls, the first one ended where she picked up that Apple symbol.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's going on? This one was a little slow in regards to the first one, to where they're trying to search for the guys, and then they finally go into the redhead's house, and so they obviously thought no one was there anymore. And so while they're on the way to her mom's house, they encounter a dude, and obviously this all went down during Halloween.
You ever see that?
Yeah. It all went down during Halloween. And so
I love that art style.
Dude, it's really good. The color and everything.
It's gritty. It's just like in your face. Yeah, it pops, so it like draws your attention.
Yeah, dude. I love it. So you go and they run into a guy who has a werewolf head, or he's practically a werewolf. And so, but the thing is that the girls are like, oh, well, I forgot his name. Let's just say his name was Jack. Oh, that's Jack. He was wearing that costume for Halloween, but it's as if he became the costume that he was in this new dimensional world.
Distorted reality, kind of like it just blended whatever personality he was.
Right. And so he was about to go after one of the girls, and then these weird flying creatures that look kind of like pterodactyls came out, and they killed one of the dudes who were trying to kill them before. So they run into her mom's house, and the mom is there, and they find out the mom is there because they thought no one was here yet. And so the mom comes out and she says that the dad left, he vanished. And so the mom thinks that this is some sort of rapture that's going on. And the girls are like, no, this is not the rapture. This happened because of a device that we found. And the mom can't handle it. She's drinking booze or whatever. And it's a stepmom to the redhead girl. And so they don't have that kind of connection with each other. And then there's a moment when the mom's like, I can't handle it anymore. She grabs a gun. She's going to shoot herself. And the girl's stopping her. She's like, no, don't do it, Mom. And the mom's like, no, I got to do it. And she tries to pull it. And then it just ends. And you just see the other girl's faces. And you just see the word bang. And it ends. And so.
Wow. Wow.
So it's really interesting to I really didn't know what I was going to expect with this comic. But it's really gritty, dude. And I love all 4 characters, the main 4 characters. They're really, really good. And I can't wait to see where they're going with this. Is this another dimension? Is this a rapture thing that's going on because people are vanishing? I don't know. But whatever they're going for right now, I'm enjoying it.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't even read the comics, and I got my theories on what's going on.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's really, really good.
Well, I'm thinking, okay, so is this going to be one of those cut and dry comics? They did find a device, and it's caused them to do, some sort of multi-dimensional travel? Or is this kind of like a metaphor, like the creator of the comic is this kind of like a metaphor for certain things that are happening in their own lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like what if it like opened up to where like at the end of the series or end of the comic, like they weren't actually, none of this actually happened. This was just kind of playing on their heads, and they were like little kids or something. You know what I mean? Like, this was like them like fantasizing about being grown up, and some dark storyline like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment like how I said in this one they kind of touched on the fact of what the Apple symbol a little bit. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls was like, "What? We have computers back in the library that kind of have this symbol, but it was like the original Apple computers." And the girl's like, can these guys be time travelers? Like, is this how computers are going to be in the future, like this small? And so it's playing with that idea. And I wonder if the girls will get to the future, you know?
Yeah.
Would they dip into the future, or is the future colliding with the past? I don't know. But yeah, dude, this is really interesting.
Opens up
comic.
a whole world of things.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Great comic.
Yeah.
Absolutely enjoy it.
Paper Girls, check
recommend
it out.
Paper Girls, man. It's really, really good. What you been reading, man?
I just finished up the last volume of Legion. It was kind of a headspin. The whole comic's been a headspin from the beginning. But yeah, no, so he's like a terribly like misunderstood kind of character, you know, and he's living in his father's footsteps, and
Professor X.
Yeah, and so he's always trying to live up to that, but no one expects him to live up to that, and so but he holds himself to this unrealistic standard. And you know, like, what I really like about his whole comic arc is that it's kind of it's relatable in the sense that everybody's been to that spot where they feel like they're not good enough for something, and they're trying to like live up to, you know, whatever, like, in, you know, whether it be a big brother or something else, you know what I mean? They're trying to live up to a certain standard that they think they're being held by, but they're not. And it's kind of, his whole story is like a story of, like, you know, self-discovery, perseverance, and like, you know, just the willingness to like overcome some, you know, like just these obstacles that you put in your own head. And he ends up doing that, and because it's a superhero comic, so they're not going to go without, like, you know, the saving of the day, you know, kind of thing. But he ends up meeting this girl in the comics, Ruth, and Ruth is like this really powerful like sidekick as well, and he's a telepath, and they kind of like get together, and like she can see like into the future, so she knows that like either he's going to kill her, she's gonna kill him, or they're both gonna die, kind of thing. And you know, so they take this relationship with that kind of like mentality going in. So it's really sketchy kind of thing. Like, but they love each other, but they don't want to, like, you know, that they're worried about certain things they do are gonna cause like this catastrophic, like, you know, like, how do you say in One Punch Man, like the God scenario, you know what I mean? The end of the world kind of thing. And at the end of the comics, it does, like, he turns into this crazy, like, telepathic sort of, how do you say, there's, like, another realm, you know, the same realm that Professor X uses to go and use, like, Cerebro?
Yeah.
It's called the Psychosphere. And so he basically becomes this monster from the Psychosphere, and it's, like, all his personalities get absorbed into him because he becomes, like, super self-confident. And in doing so, he creates this like crazy big beast that starts absorbing every single soul of all the mutants that are on the planet.
Really?
Yeah. And so, like, I mean, like, you just, like, you're sitting there watching this thing happen in the comics, you know, and, like, you watch, like, the X-Men that are there, and they just get sucked out and just dead like that instantly, just ripped up into there. And so after he absorbs the last creature that's in him, and it's, like, himself, but it's like himself it's called the Weaver, and it's supposed to be like the Weaver of everything, you know. He absorbs that guy, and then he stops, and he can go back and he can save everybody, but in every single reality that he can think of, whether it's, you know, every conceivable I can't even say it, conceivable reality with him in there, he causes some sort of destruction or kills somebody, and he doesn't want to do that. So he just says, you know, screw it at the end, and like basically just like shatters his own reality, and like sends everything going backwards in time again to like before he was born, and so there's this whole new reality is created where he is not even part of the timeline, and Ruth being a strong telepath and like she was kind of broken at first too because her brother stole part of her powers, but then he gets killed, so all her powers return. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so after he destroys himself from all the realities, I mean, he's never born. He's like, you know, all that stuff because he feels like he's just a burden anyway. But it's kind of interesting because instead of saying like, hey, I'm going to live through this and yeah, people are going to die, but whatever, I'll be alive. Like he kind of sacrifices himself for the greater good, you know, because that way Ruth gets to live. He doesn't have to kill Ruth. Ruth doesn't have to kill him, or they both don't die. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So at the end, he lives on like in her mind, like he's there in her mind, like as a reality, like he's actually there, but he's not there. You know what I'm saying? And with Marvel Comics, it's so crazy, right? But
yeah,
anything can happen, right? So she knows him, she remembers him, she's looking for him, and like she says something like one of her other classmates comes in and she's like, "Where's David?" You know what I mean? And they're like, "What? You know, who's David?"
Yeah.
You know, like I think you're tripping on your like, you know, your telepathy again, you crazy girl. And like she goes into her mind and David's there and she goes, where are you? And he's like, well, I'm not part of this existence anymore, but I'll always be with you, you know, kind of thing. And that's how it ends. Just straight up, that's how it ends. I was like, okay, well, that's cold as f***, but
wow, dude. I mean, so Legion is always interesting to me. I mean, the FX TV show obviously is bringing him out to a greater light that I think he deserves. Were you happy with the conclusion of the series?
I was. I wasn't too upset with it because, I mean, I don't know. Just after you read all those volumes for that character, you know, you get involved in that character.
Yeah,
so I mean, of course, it kind of sucked to see a character killed off like that. But at the same time, too, instead of dragging it on to some like craziness, you know what I mean, later in the future where he dies like 6 more times and is brought back, like, and there's always going to be a new Marvel creator, so who knows? They might resurrect him in some weird way, and he might come back, you know, or he still exists in some sort of different dimension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in this one, yes, it was like a fitting end because he died happy in a way. You know what I mean? He died whole and he died like, you know, on his feet kind of thing. It wasn't like, and it was his choice. It wasn't like, you know, just a blindside death where he just got, you know, totally just taken out of the picture. He was, you know, it was his choice. He went out on his terms and he like saved everybody by doing it instead of like being this loner that like you see in the beginning of the story. He became somebody who cared about like other people finally and was stepped out of his father's shadow. So that was cool. I liked it. Yeah.
Cool. So second comic that I read this week was I went to the comic store and I was like, what am I going to read? And I was like,
Power Rangers.
Got to get the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics, man. And so I'm not going to talk. There's not really much to talk about. It kind of is resembling the original TV show. What I like about it is that the original TV show, you can't go back to it and watch it anymore. It's too campy. It's too hard. And this is a great way for me to go back and have nostalgic feels for it because the art style for it, and if you want to open it up and look at it, you can open it up and look at it.
Yeah.
The art style is really, really good and it gives it the proper action that it was deserved.
Oh, is it not open yet?
Oh, I guess. No, yeah, you can open. Yeah, I just sealed it up. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't want to open your brand new comic.
No. So yeah, the art style was really, really good. I enjoyed it. And it has the right action that I think back then the
we're going old school. This is like going back to like the
Bulk
very
and Skull
first.
and everything. Yeah. And so, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. So my only problem is that I did not know issue zeros were things in comic books. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that was a thing. So I finished it. I was reading this, and halfway through, there's a moment it's like Trini says something, and then underneath it says, refer to issue 0 to understand what that means. And I was like, what the heck is issue 0? And so I went back into the comic store, and I was like, yo, dude, do you have issue 0? And the guy was like, bro, that stuff is rare. You can't find that anymore. Mm-hmm. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, when issue 0 came out, they had 6 variant covers. And all of them had the Power Rangers from like mid-body right here holding their helmets with the reflection of their Megazords in the helmets. Beautiful art, dude. Beautiful art. And so I looked online. Obviously, I wanted to get that White Ranger one.
How much does it cost?
White Ranger is going for $168.
That's not bad though. I was expecting some outrageous.
You think so?
Outrageous number. I thought somebody was gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna eBay this one and just like $5,000."
Yeah, dude. I mean, for
Cash.
sure they can. And then the Green Ranger one was going for $150. Red Ranger was going for $100.
I know what to get Robert for his birthday.
So dude, I saw that and I was like, I have to get these now, man, because like I want to collect them all now. And then this was the first time where it popped into my mind that I was like, variant covers are now a thing that I want to freaking get, dude. Because I went and I saw issue number 1, and then I was looking and they had other issue number 1s. I was like, okay, well that, and the front cover was different.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that must be a different volume. I looked up online, and on the back of these, it actually shows different variant covers for this comic. Mm-hmm. One of them was like it looked like it was the front of a toy box for a Green Ranger, like straight up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a weird variant cover, but I was
Which
like,
is cool
what?
because I mean that's one thing I like with the Kindle too is that it shows all the different variant cover work art.
Oh, does it really?
Yes.
So how does it work though? But there's only one cover that it just automatically can have though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But like at the end of the comic, it'll show like all the variant comic art that has been drawn up for this
Okay.
this one issue in
Gotcha,
particular,
gotcha.
or the certain issues that are covered in the volume.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because like you get to see like, I mean, some people like get really creative with it too. Like yeah, there's like ones where like they just look like a bunch of like little bobbleheads or something. You're like, that's an odd choice for it, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say with the Kindle that's only flaw is that there's no color, so you don't get to see like the color schemes that are in there.
No. Do you have one that's black and white?
Yeah.
Oh no, man.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me too bad, but it's like, I mean, because it's like reading like just like some sort of like massive big manga. You know what I mean?
I'm sure the Legion in color would be amazing.
Oh yeah, no, because I saw some of it online for the first time the other day, and I was like, oh. It's like why are you doing this to me? But the other Legion comics, the ones that are like leading up to this one, where he's trapped on like Mur Island and stuff like that, and the X-Men try to go save him.
Yeah.
And it also has to do with the Shadow King as well. Those ones I think I might order and just like get the actual like comics.
Okay.
I don't think they're terribly expensive, so
Cool.
I think I might do that and get the hard copy for them, which would be cool.
Cool. Yeah, Power Rangers, I recommend it. It's by Kyle, Hendry, and Matt Herms from Boom Studios. I enjoyed it. Yeah, man, what else have you been reading?
Still working on that Iron Fist, the origin story one, like way back, like the 70s. That's kind of it's kind of a hard comic to keep following, just because it's so just like old, you know what I mean? And just like some of the references
What year?
in there. I think it's back in like 70, like mid 70s, late 70s.
I didn't even know Iron Fist went went that far back.
Oh yeah.
didn't
That's
know
why
that.
like if you look at like Luke Cage and stuff, like the reason he's dressed like he is,
Uh-huh.
like, and like if you go and you watch the show and the music that plays in the Netflix series Luke Cage, like it's like kind of like that 70s, just like like black superhero, yeah. It's like a funk to it, you know what I mean? You're just like getting into it, right? Like it's crazy, man. And then you look at like the supervillains too. You look at like Luke Cage's, supervillains like Cottonmouth and Diamondback. Like, you look at those characters like in the comics compared to them in the show, and you're just like, well, I mean, they try to portray them the right way, but Jesus, like, it's hard. You can tell it's like from a different era. You're like, whoa. It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. It's just like I'm getting into it, but I also got the newer Iron Fist ones, and I think they just came out too, with a whole nother. Excuse me, I had a burp there. Don't want to burp in your face. Marvel just released. I think they're on their second issue of the new Iron Fist, and I think it's more like the Danny Rand in there. It kind of looks like the Danny Rand from the shows.
Yeah. And
it's supposed to be the way they made it sound on like the Marvel site, because I clicked on it, I was like, what the f-? I was like, I just got Iron Fist comics. I'm like, what are these ones? And so have you watched the series Iron Fist?
I've seen like the first 3 episodes. That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna spoiler alert this one for you. I'm not gonna like ruin the entire show.
Spoiler alert
Spoiler alert
for a Marvel TV show.
But at the end, he goes back to Kunlun, right? To with the girl Connie, and he wanted it. He's like, well, we can go together back to Kunlun. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, and that's my home. I'm the Iron Fist. I'm supposed to defend it. So he's like, let's make this journey. It's a beautiful place. He keeps talking about it. They get to the gate, and there's like some bloody like red hand, or the hand guys like at the entrance, and then he looks, and then Kunlun is just like gone
Destroyed?
from the mountain. No, it's not destroyed. It's just gone.
Really?
Disappeared, like gone. Yeah, like it was just wiped off the face of the earth, kind of
Wow,
gone. Yeah. So, and he's just like, and that's how it cuts out, right? Like that's how it ends. They just cut it like that. So, with that reference right there, me telling you that, what ties into the comics is that it says Danny Rand, just returning from Kunlun, which was wiped off the earth and attacked, blah blah blah, and then like, and it's like he just picks fights with people just to prove that his worth, and all this other stuff. So it's like, is this comic arc kind of like taking on like right after the show?
Yeah.
To like
Gotcha,
kind of
gotcha.
like appease people until
Fill
season
in that.
2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Defenders. So that's kind of interesting in its own right, and I'll probably have to go check those out.
Interesting, dude.
Just to see, because
Yeah.
I like the show enough, and I think everybody should go check it out because it was pretty good.
Nice.
It's not a bad show.
Nice. Cool.
Screw the haters.
All right. Well, the last book that I read this week was Invincible Volume 2.
Okay.
Um,
You're telling me how great the first one was?
the first one was great. This one is even better, dude.
Really?
To an extent to where I was like, now I get what everyone was saying, you gotta read number 2, because it keeps you going, dude. So like I said, the first one, and again, spoilers, guys. The first one is, there's the main dude. He and his father are both superheroes, obviously. His dad was an alien, and then obviously his son became a superhero, the spawn of his father.
Yes.
And so there's a moment where
Should we get into the debate whether he's an alien too? Because he was born on Earth, right? So he's technically an Earthling.
that's true.
David.
Yes. Yes, that could be a big discussion.
Right?
So halfway through this book in volume 2, everything shifts, dude.
Really?
Because there's a moment where they call them the Guardians of the Globe. This comic really makes fun of superheroes, and I love it. But it's also taking itself seriously to an extent.
Yeah.
So there's a group called the Guardians of the Globe, and all these guys.
Oh my God.
All these guys.
How did he not get in trouble for that?
He didn't, because his name is Night. What was his name? Night Owl or something? No, Midnight. His name was Midnight. Since I think that yeah.
That's so ridiculous. He looks just like Batman.
Except for the little.
Yeah, he's got.
and
Yeah, and he doesn't have the crest or anything, and his cape's a little
his cape
smaller.
is split in half.
That's ridiculous.
And so then you go and all these people are getting calls.
Yeah.
Like, we need you all to gather up. So, this Midnight guy goes. You get this Flash guy. He goes. You get this girl that's kind of like Wonder Woman to an extent. They call her. This dude that's a fish under the water who's literally just sleeping the entire time.
Oh my God.
And he's like, oh, it looks like there's time to do something. And so he
Making
leaves.
fun of everybody.
Yeah. And so
I love it. Instead of like a fish, like a mermaid, where he's like the fish bottom half, he's like a fish
Just a
upper
full fish.
half. Yeah.
And so they all go to
That's
the
horrible.
place where the Guardians of the Globe come together and they meet. And so they're all like, so who issued us all to come together? And all of a sudden, they just start dying. Like, someone is like snapping their necks, cutting their heads off, splitting their bodies in half. And so you're like, what's going on? Like, all of them are dying. And this one dude's like, he looks back, he's like, I knew I never liked you at all. And then you find out it's the main dude's dad.
Whoa.
And you're like,
Why did he just...
what the heck is going on?
He just leaves off like as a cliffhanger?
No. And so it continues, and it's like a whole, like, it goes on with his life. I enjoy his life because he's interacting with his friends and stuff like that. But then it goes on, and it's like the funeral happens for all of them. The dad's there, his son's there. He's weeping. The dad's weeping. Like, I don't know if it's fake tears. I don't know if there's a clone of him.
Yeah.
But it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then his wife obviously finds out, like, you're acting really different lately, and he's like, well, there's nothing. I'm fine. I'm just grieving over this loss that I just encountered. And then that's it, dude. And these people will go and they're gonna get their bodies at were underneath the ground, and these guys just stop them and say, "We'll take it from here," and then it ends.
Jesus.
And so, yeah, dude, it's a
That seems intense.
fantastic comic. And now reading this, I'm like, I can't wait to see what they do with the movie, dude. Can't wait to see what they do with the movie. But yeah, man, Invincible Volume 2, I recommend it 100%.
We should hold the comic up so that they can see.
Yeah. Invincible Volume 2, guys. Go check it out. It's by Robert Kirkman, creator of Walking Dead and Outcast. You got Walker, Otley, and Crabtree who are doing the illustrations and the inking. So, yeah, I recommend it 100%. Anything else you're reading? Or is that all you've been reading this week?
That's all I've been reading. I mean, I'm trying to, not other than comics, the book, Ready Player One, I'm like almost done with that. But I had to come back to that book. It was, I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
But I got like 75% through, and that's a good book.
Cool.
And they're turning that into a movie, I believe.
Yeah, they
so, yeah.
Excited
to see where they go with that.
So to end it off, what do you plan on reading for this next week so that the viewers have an idea what they're going to come to next week?
I don't know, man. Like I think, on Friday before work, I think I might go to a comic shop and just get some hard copy because you got a lot of independent comics and I like that. So it's more grown up.
Yeah.
I think I get into some story arcs like that. So I think I might do that.
Cool.
Friday.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this week I'm gonna try, and I get paid obviously tomorrow, but I want to get some games. I want to get that Persona 5. I don't know if I'm gonna get Persona 5. I don't know because there's other comics that are coming out too. So I might get another Paper Girls. I might dip into some more Power Rangers. Who knows? I might jump into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've been wanting to do that because I have it at home. I haven't read it yet. But for sure, one comic that I'll be reading, I'll be telling you guys to buy it, is from the creator of Scott Pilgrim. It's a comic they made recently. It's called Snot Girl. And this is it right here. And it's very interesting. Don't know what it's quite about. People have been recommending it. The artwork is exactly kind of like, it's a lot like Scott Pilgrim to an extent. But it's a girl called Snot Girl. I don't know what it's about.
Just got snot hanging out of her nose.
But I will let you guys know next week for sure. But yeah, that's what you guys can be looking forward to. Thanks, guys, for joining us here in the Comic Corner. It's I, Robert. This is Dom. And this is the INDUO channel here on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Push that thumbs up button. Leave a comment below. Let us know what comics you're reading, what you recommend to us, and any questions that you have for us, and we'll answer them for you here on youtube.com/INDUO, the Comic Corner segment. We love you guys. Peace out.